Okay, this is the first video programming the Parallax StampWorks board. The first thing that you should be doing is setting it up for the debugging program so that it will actually so you can actually program it. What I'm doing right now is connecting all the rails. Those first two wires are columns 59 and 60, and the next four will be sockets 29 and 32, which is a total of 4 wires. And then I will be connecting the VSS ground and the VDD to the board. You want to make sure that you get the wires in the right slots, pressed all the way down firmly, so they have a good connection. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like up close so you'll know. And so that's what it should look like up close. You have 2 wires, the VDD, the VSS, ground, and columns 59 and 60. Now what I'm doing here is I've added a wire to the P0 slot or socket and the LED 0 socket. This program will flash an LED. The second experiment flashes an advanced LED, and there is no change in the wiring on that. The third experiment is an LED counter. It's going to display a counter which will flash back and forth. And what you're going to do is build on the first experiment and the second experiment, and you're going to wire together P0 through 3 and the 2 LED 0 through 3. And when you take a look up close, you should have 4 wires running from the P0123 to the LED 0123. And when you run the program, it should look like that. Okay, the fourth experiment will be adding 4 more wires to what you already have in the LED and P slots. So basically you're just adding more LEDs to the lineup to your program. And essentially the program will run. That's what it looks like up close. 8 wires total. The program will run an LED back and forth from the LEDs 0 through 7. And when you run the program, that's what it should look like. The fifth experiment is going to get a little more complicated. You're going to connect the VSS ground rail socket to the socket A15, You're also going to get a 0.1 capacitor, and you're going to put it in sockets C15 and C16. You're going to connect socket A16 to the basic stamp P15, and then you will be using another wire to connect B16 to the wiper, which is the middle slot of the 10K pentometer. Then, using one more wire, you're going to connect VSS ground to the bottom terminal of the 10K pentometer. And that's what it should look like up close. There's your capacitor, and you're connected the wiper and the socket on the 10K pentometer. And when you run the program, it should look like this. And that's turning the knob. It goes up and it goes back to the start. You can turn it down, and that's what it does. On the sixth experiment, you're going to be removing 2 wires from the LEDs. And you will be connecting pin P6 to the audio amplifier, which, if you were looking directly at the board, the right direction, it's going to be on the bottom right corner, right next to the speaker. And then you're going to connect P7 to a push button. And it doesn't matter which one, just as long as it's connected to a push button. And the push buttons are located at the bottom. They're the 8 red buttons. You have 8 push buttons on this board. And you want to make sure that your wire is straight so it will go in flush. And when you run the program, well, actually that's what it looks like close up. You can see all 7 wires. There's the speaker box, and there's your push button. When you run the program, it should look like this, and you will have to push the button to make the program run. It will start out like this, and then you push the button and it engages. And it runs a random set of numbers, and if they all light up, you win. If not, it will make a foul noise and then start over. On the final experiment, you're going to create a controller for outdoor lighting or Christmas decorations or holiday displays. All it does is activate each LED after a certain amount of time. There is no change in the wiring, and it does take a long time to go through the cycle. But once it's done, it will start over and run each LED again. And this is Experiments 1 through 7 in the StampWorks Parallax programming. And the final LED will light up here in just a second, and then it will start over, and that is the essential program.